Have you ever pitched a really good idea to your manager and they just didn't do anything with it? Or maybe you've been in a job interview. You're asked why you're the right person for the role. You know your experience is a strong match, so you explain it as clearly as you can. But somehow your answer still doesn't convince the interviewer. When that happens, we usually blame our confidence, our communication skills, or our English. But more often than not, the problem is much simpler. Most weak arguments aren't wrong. They're just incomplete. Your idea isn't structured in a way that's easy for the other person to evaluate. In this video, I'm going to show you a simple 3-layer framework to fix this. It's the exact formula you can use in meetings, presentations, or interviews to turn your ideas into clear, convincing arguments. Let's look at the first layer, the claim. This is simply the conclusion you want the other person to accept. For example, you say, "I think we should start using AI tools for our weekly reports." That's a clear claim. People know exactly where you stand. But it's still just a conclusion. The immediate question in your listener's mind is always going to be, why? If you stop talking right there, your argument is just an opinion. And this is exactly where most people lose their audience. They jump from the claim straight to the conclusion without explaining the reasoning in between. Which brings us to the second layer, the mechanism. This is the reasoning that justifies your claim. It answers a simple question. Why is your claim true? To do that, you need to show how your reasoning leads to your conclusion. This is the step most people skip. They'll say something like, "We should use AI because it'll save us a lot of time." Now, that sounds reasonable, but it doesn't actually explain how. It leaves out the most important part. A mechanism-driven explanation sounds more like this. Right now, the team spends hours manually digging up data from 5 different spreadsheets before we can even start analyzing it. An AI tool can automate most of that process and format everything instantly. So instead of spending most of our time just preparing data, we only need to review the final output. Notice what changed here. Instead of jumping straight to the conclusion, the explanation fills in the reasoning between the claim and the conclusion. Now your audience can see how one leads to the other. Once they understand that connection, your conclusion becomes much easier to accept. But even if your reasoning is solid, people still need a reason to care. And that's the final layer, impact. You have to realize that your audience is always filtering your words through their own problems. A manager cares about productivity and team capacity. A client cares about budget. An interviewer wants to know if you can solve problems. So once you explain how your idea works, you have to tie it directly to what they value. Going back to our example, by automating that data prep, we free up hours every week. That means the team can focus on strategic insights instead of copy-pasting, so we can take on more projects without burning everyone out. Think of it this way. The mechanism shows that your idea is practical, but the impact shows why it's worth doing. If you leave out the impact, people may understand your idea, but they still won't feel motivated to act. So the next time you're prepping for a meeting, a presentation, or an interview, don't just ask yourself if your idea is good. Ask yourself 3 simple things. First, what is my claim? Second, how does it actually work? Third, why does it matter to the person listening? If you can answer those 3 questions clearly, your arguments will become much more convincing.
But there's one more thing. Even a well-structured argument can fall flat if it's built around the raw problem. Because the way you define the problem shapes the entire argument, from the claim you make to the impact you emphasize.
And that's exactly what we'll break down in the next video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.